Well, welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Really exciting video today. I'm unboxing my latest CGC 9.8 purchase off of eBay. I didn't really keep it a secret in the title, if you noticed. A bit of a clickbaity title, to be honest, because although this is my fourth Incredible Hulk 340, I'm just unboxing kind of one today. I got a new one, as I alluded to on our pricing video. Yeah, so let's just get right into it, and we'll show them all off and get right into the Census and why I think that this book is a really good investment grade book. Yeah, got me another very nice Incredible Hulk 340 in a new case, really nicely centered with the nice colors. More importantly, on Incredible Hulk 340, sometimes we talk about the spine centering is really important because you got the McFarlane and Wycheck signatures here, and if it's not centered on the spine, sometimes those signatures are curling around the spine, even though it's still a CGC 9.8. So this one's kind of got the important, nice spine centering with signatures front and center, classic cover, really nice colors on this one too. Yeah, like a little page kind of maybe sticking out the side here, but the pages are really crisp and supple on this issue, like super white, really flat issue. Just a really high grade, kind of pristine example. And yeah, so happy to have another one. I think, if going by how many CGC 9.8s I have, this is the first issue I've got 4 of in the CGC 9.8 white pages. So I guess this is my favorite issue, pretty much, like this, Batman 423, Amazing Spider-Man 300. But this is up there for sure. So, kind of boiled it down. Like, we'll get into the CGC Census, but I boiled it down to kind of 4 reasons why I think this is like an investment grade 1980s book, for sure. Definitely an investment grade book. So, Census info, there's 685 CGC 9.8s. Again, talking about the centering, I would say like half of those probably don't have like optimal centering for kind of what we talked about with the signatures. So there's not a lot of these in like a super high grade, and that will kind of get into the pricing of some of them. But just really quickly, 14.3% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8, the CGC 9.8 ratio. So the lower the better, that thing. The lower it is, the more rare it is relatively to how many have been graded. So that's a pretty investment grade ratio. Anything under 15 is like getting quite rare. And then the most expensive 80s book of all, Amazing Spider-Man 300, is a 6% CGC 9.8 ratio, which is very, very low. Like the lowest you're going to find, that's why it's like $2,000 in the CGC 9.8. So 14.3%, certainly under 20 is quite investment grade rare in the high grade ratio for a book. So pricing, there's, talked about the centering and the slight differences that are pretty important on this book. And you can grab this in the CGC 9.8 pretty much anywhere from like $350, even up to like $450. I paid for this $425 in an auction. That's another thing. You usually don't see these very often for a good price just popping up in a buy it now or something. So, when there's an auction and it's nicely centered, although some of these go for like $375 to $350, and I've seen some even go under $350 in the CGC 9.8, not very well centered, those ones. The well centered ones are usually always going over for $400. And yeah, that's what happened in kind of this auction that I won this one in. Yeah, it was looking really good in the pictures though, nice scans from the seller. And again, having the all-important kind of centering, so I just thought, why not? $425, maybe near the higher end of the fair market value, but probably for a very well, awesomely centered one with great colors like this, about bang on fair market value, and maybe even getting into a deal, to be honest. Every now and then, one of these goes for like knocking on $500. Someone just wants a really nicely centered one, and if it's out there for a full retail price, a lot of these tend to sell. I've seen them sell before for sure. All right, 4 reasons here. And then I want to do kind of slight differences in the books. Since I have 4 CGC 9.8s, they're all not like perfect, and just kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to kind of go over some of the slight differences. 4 reasons here why Incredible Hulk 340 is an investment grade book. Certainly in the CGC 9.8 too, I would recommend for 80s books. So, but number one, this is the second time Wolverine and Hulk fought. So this book's pretty much like the go-to affordable alternative for Incredible Hulk 181, which is a really expensive book now, and thousands and thousands just to get a raw copy that's not looking too good. So yeah, this is becoming an affordable alternative to that book, and yeah, whenever Hulk and Wolverine get together, it's important in comic book history, and this being literally the second time, it took all the way to 1988 for the second time for Wolverine and Hulk to fight again. So I think that, yeah, it's kind of really special that, I think Hulk 181 is 1975 book, I think. So, yeah, over 10 years later till they fought again. So an affordable, alternative to Incredible Hulk 181. Second reason, sort of the Todd McFarlane cult of fans. I think there's a really big cult of fans of Todd McFarlane, and they're into buying Todd McFarlane books. So regardless if this was, wasn't kind of Hulk versus Wolverine and that second time they fought, I still think it would get a lot of attraction because the cover's so cool, and Todd McFarlane has a lot of fans that will buy a lot of his cool covers, and Batman 423 comes to mind. Spawn #1, like all the Spawn books, and Spider-Man books, his Amazing Spider-Man run, certainly. Amazing Spider-Man 300 probably being the most iconic cover and homaged cover of all time, probably. So I think the Todd McFarlane cult of fans is kind of getting bigger every day, and there's going to be more people like me who grew up in the 90s and was really into Spawn and really looked at those Amazing Spider-Man issues and runs of Todd McFarlane as the greatest comics on earth when you were 10 years old growing up in the 90s. So I think more of those people will come out of the woodwork like me, getting back into the hobby again, because, they got good jobs and they could, buy those books and just kind of harken back to their childhood. That's pretty much the main reason that, I'm doing this. So I think that kind of Todd McFarlane fan will continue to come out of the woodwork more and more as time goes on. So McFarlane books in general, I think, are good. Classic McFarlane books are good investments, I think. Number three reason is it looks good on the Census, I think. It's not the best book on the Census, but only 685 of them in the CGC 9.8. And then talking about a lot of those centering issues with them, I think the really high-grade ones with nice centerings are quite rare. Yeah, you don't really see them pop up quite often, and that's why I always make sure to kind of overbid when I see auctions of this book. So it looks pretty good on the Census. That 14.3 CGC 9.8 ratio is a pretty investment grade ratio, certainly. Yeah, under 20 is very good. Under 15 is, even better. The lower, the better. So it looks good on the Census. And the fourth reason, bit of a speculation though, but there's just that recent announcement that Hulk's the rights have come back to MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with Disney produced movies, and X-Men is basically, that has happened, quite a while ago now, sort of after Dark Phoenix came out. And Disney had purchased Fox, I believe, yeah, and they got, National Geographic, and then they got the X-Men rights back. So basically, under the MCU Disney umbrella, they have Hulk and X-Men kind of ready to go. So I think those are both are very iconic, superheroes and characters that could make really great movies. And if Hulk and Wolverine happen to fight it out on screen, I don't think this book would, be kicking around like 400 for a really nice one. I think it could certainly become even more classic and have a mystique about it, even more so than it is now. And yeah, over the long term, if that movie kind of came out, I could see CGC 9.8 white pages of these kicking, $900, $1,000 US. Certainly, I'm thinking plus 10 years down the road. So I think that's the fourth reason there is I wouldn't make it the number one reason you buy this book, because who knows, they might never make a Hulk Wolverine movie for the next 50 years, but it's certainly out there, and I think there's kind of some evidence too that they got the rights back, so you never know. yeah, so Hulk 340, I would completely recommend this book. A nicely centered one. You know, I bid over $450 for mine, so I ended up winning it for $425. So I was, you know, still would have paid a little bit more. So yeah, I'd recommend it as an investment grade book in the CGC 9.8 white pages for sure. Let's talk about some of the differences though, really quick. I already kind of made a video with the three of them about the slight differences. So the two front and center here, these are really like just pristine, almost perfect, Incredible Hulk 340s. Nice centering on the spine on both of them. You know, signatures front and center on both of them, not curled around the spine. Not like a bunch of pages kind of sticking out the top or the side. Yeah, really high grade, and even the cases are really nice too. Like every now and then there's a smudge on a case or that you didn't notice on the scans or whatever it might be. Yeah, pristine cases, even these two. So happy to have those two. These two are really nice too. This one actually has the best colors of them all. CGC 9.8 white pages. Yeah, vivid colors, this one. I love to just take this out and you know, these are really nicely centered, perfect, with the signatures looking very good. But look, you know, right behind, you probably can't even tell, but the colors are more vivid on this copy. But yeah, that's a good example of, you know, it's almost perfectly centered. No pages sticking out the side though on this one. This one was over $400 for me too. Very similar price to these, and I bought it a year ago now. So yeah, not, but I remember too in the pictures, the colors on this one were really vivid, and yeah, no pages sticking out the side. So it is still a nicely centered issue, but where the signatures are, that's, you know, kind of maybe the slightest ding to this. This would be the perfect issue if it was just a little bit shifted over, with the signatures kind of boom, right on the front. This would be the perfect Hulk 340, because yeah, better colors than those. But nice new case for sure. This one I would say is kind of an example of one that, you know, you would probably grab for $350. So, you know, nice colors on this one actually. But if you notice, like, kind of pages sticking out the side. Yeah, not too much going on. You know, more at the top. This one's a little bit odd how it's off-centered, kind of a manufacturing defect. Page is really still supple and white on it, because you can see them kind of popping out the top, and it's a bit of an odd off-centering. And the McFarlane signature is almost quite perfect, almost, but a little bit sort of curled around the spine. But really almost a decent spine centering. Yeah, and I think this is one where, you know, right now if this kind of went up in an auction with nice pictures and everything, it'd probably grab like $375 to, you know, $385 or $390 or something like that. Still a nice looking example, and but a good example of some of the slight differences that do, you know, turn the value down a little bit from some of the pristine examples here, perfectly centered. So yeah, kind of over the moon now that I was able to grab another perfect Incredible Hulk 340. I could see these sticking around for like the longest time, just the fact that they're very nicely centered and pretty much always looking for this issue, and it took me like a year to grab like two perfect ones and two almost perfect ones. Still, you know, the more I collect comics too, I'm interested in the slight differences and things like that, but I'm more like, oh, well, it's off-centered, it's still a CGC 9.8, like, you know, I'm gonna bid on it type thing. I'm getting more into that rather than sort of my OCD kind of taking over sometimes with not bidding on perfectly centered issues, but I could probably get better deals if I wasn't into that so much. So I think I'm getting out of that a little bit, but still like me a perfectly centered book, especially an Incredible Hulk 340 because of those signatures right on that spine. So yeah, you know what? Completely recommend Incredible Hulk 340. Glad I grabbed another one. Mine was $425 for a perfect one, basically. So, you know, that's kind of a fair market value, I think, for a perfect one. Yeah, so just so happy I got 4 of them, and a bit of a show-off video, too, I gotta admit. And yeah, sorry about the clickbait. I kind of made it think that I unboxed 4 at once, which would have been pretty amazing, but at least there's still 4 in the video, so it's somewhat not clickbait. Yeah, just great books though. I just love pride of ownership on these things, I think, is great, and a lot of going over those reasons. And yeah, I think although the movie, as I said, I wouldn't make the fact that there's going to be a movie the reason you buy this, but I think because there's some evidence, as I said, of Disney taking over Fox and some of these rights coming back to MCU Disney, it's a little bit, it's kind of a savvy way to speculate, possibly. But in the meantime, you get a classic McFarlane, second time Hulk and Wolverine, so classic. Yeah, such a classic 80s book with a great cover. I didn't even really talk about the cover with the reflections, which was just like, I think when it came out in the 80s, people they were like, do I love it? Do I hate it? And then as time goes on, it's just gotten amazing. And I think it's kind of an awesome, innovative 80s cover for sure from a young artist back then, Todd McFarlane. And Bob Wycheck, gotta give it up to Bob Wycheck too for the team up on the cover. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Hit the bell, get all our latest notifications. And love to have you on our comic book collecting team. But really happy I could share 4 Incredible Hulk 340 CGC 9.8 white pages that I got now. Yeah, it feels great. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.